Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Look, Zach, you sound a bit weird in my headphones today. Your voice sounds a bit dumb. Wait a second, you're not even in my headphones. You're right here. Your voice sounds dumb, but you are right in front of me. It's nothing to do with headphones.
I can't remember the last time we sat around, like, your table, like, recording a show. I reckon it would have maybe have been, like, Montreal, like the Cirque de Gilles de Villeneuve, like, in 2014, maybe? Yeah,
maybe.
Even then. Yeah, about 2014. So no, usually when we're together, it's always with, like, in some professional recording studio or something. But
what are you saying?
No,
this is my lounge room.
This is a beautiful lounge room. I don't want to give away your location. I don't want to give away any locations by giving any. I won't mention anything outside. But gee, that army base looks pretty good.
I live in area 69. What's the area 35? What is it?
Area 51.
51.
I almost said 52, but it's 52 now.
Yeah.
No, that's where we all went. We all Naruto ran to get our aliens there. Remember how everyone on Reddit was going to rush Area 51? You know, you're not in on that.
I was busy that day, I think.
It's also a long way from Australia, but we're here.
You're here. You're in Melbourne. It's the place to be with your mate, Zach P. and Rodney G. How's it going? So how's Melbourne? What do you think of it?
As my first time in Melbourne, it's not as sunny as I thought it was going to be. It's good to be home. It's funny being here and not having a Formula race run on or any of those kinds of things, but it feels like the old times. It feels like this is the throwback show. It really feels like old times, yeah. In a good way. Yeah.
Speaking of old times, something that happened a few days ago, which is classifies as old times, US Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton, the 6-time championship winner. We'll go into that a little bit, but then we'll recap the US Grand Prix, look at the Fantasy League, go through some F1 dreams, talking about long time before we've done things. You've got a quiz for me, then we're going to wrap up with some final thoughts. So, Zach, first of all, Lewis Hamilton, 6-time champion, how good does it feel to say those words? Yeah, I know you've been wanting this for a long time.
Well, it's really, ever since I started watching Formula One, I said, that guy there, he's a 6-time world champion.
Oh, you were the one that said it.
And I thought,
that's good to know.
I thought that really, he's done it a year later than we all expected. You know, Nico Rosberg stole one from him. Lewis Hamilton was robbed. Robbed. He could be sitting on 7. He could be Michael Schumacher, sorry. Mick Schumacher's my son. He could be right up there, but instead he's just the second best Formula One driver of all time. Yeah. But did you see that Gary Lineker said today, it's like, how come Lewis Hamilton might actually be like the greatest British sports person of all time, and how come he hasn't been knighted yet? You know, people have been knighted for less.
Wow, that's true.
So, Queenie, it's time. It's time. And, as someone who lives in the United Kingdom, the greatest of Great Britain, I'm going to put my vote in at the coming election.
Do you think is like the average age of someone to be knighted? It feels like something you get when you're like 60.
It feels right that it should be 60.
I don't think Lewis he's approaching 60, but he's got a long way to go. So maybe they're like, yeah, we'll get to that one.
No, but it's all like they handed out a bunch of knighthoods after the 2012 British Olympics, like the London Olympics, not the British, but all of the cycling people, and they've given them to football players for just great service to footballing. If David Beckham can be a Sir David Beckham, don't quote me on that. I think he might be. I'm pretty sure it's Sir Gordon Ramsay as well. Surely Lewis Hamilton, 6-time world champion with all his 6 appeal.
All right. Now let's try and make it a thing.
It's so
I'm with Crofty. I'm Team Crofty. Let's make it a thing. 6 appeal. That was the worst thing about Hamilton crossing the line. And Crofty tries to squeeze in this awkward thing that he's come up with, or someone's...
Do you reckon it's slipped him a note?
A passing joke that you'd be like, hey, 6 appeal, am I right? And you're like, but you never bring it up again. At least not while you're commentating on the world feed. This glorious moment as Lewis Hamilton crosses the line.
Exactly.
Anyway, 6 appeal.
It's the 3-0 Walcott from Peep Show.
Go into lots of detail.
Lots of detail. If you haven't seen Peep Show, this is not going to make any sense to you, but it's worth watching. For all of our non-English and maybe even Australian listeners, you should go and watch Peep Show. But one of the characters is basically a drag addict, and the other one is working his life as a loan manager. And Jeremy, the drag addict, is like, well, when the 3-0 Walcott millions come in, when Theo Walcott, a famous Arsenal player, turns 30, I'm going to sell that headline, 3-0 Walcott, to the Daily Mail for millions of pounds. And Mark says, well, together we've agreed that it's a good idea and we won't be talking about it. That's what 6 appeal is to me. Like, it's
Fantastic.
Someone who's gone after 30 beers, like, 6 appeal, I'm going to say it when he finally wins it. And it's been in the cold, harsh light of the Circuit of the Americas, it withered on the live global feed.
Yeah, it was cringy watching the highlights where I was like, oh, you had the option to cut that out and you didn't. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. He's done it, though. I guess that question of is he the greatest British sports person ever, I am so unqualified to talk about that.
Tim Henman, number one.
Can't think of any other notable British sports people that are like obviously more acclaimed than he.
No.
He being Hamilton. And maybe it's just because they're like, he might do better still that people are holding back on that accolade to be like, you're just the greatest we've ever had because he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
So it's also like Australians, the British are very, we're not going to applaud ourselves. We're going to sit with our hands underneath our legs. We will not. We are fervent. We will not clap ourselves. They might be just waiting until he retires. Well done, champ. You were the best there ever was.
Yeah, there's no more excuses now, right? Like, he's seen off the best opposition. Like, yes, we know he's in the best car, but he's seen off Sebastian Vettel and Sherlock and a charging Ferrari.
Yeah.
So, what else does he need to prove? As far as I'm concerned, he's got it. He's done it. He's great.
He'll win 7, and he'll equal Schumacher on numbers, and the debate will rage over who's the best driver, because obviously, on paper, Schumacher has great numbers in terms of how he drives and how he got to some of those numbers and got to some of those wins. That's when it's more debatable, and that's why we have pubs. That's how pubs were invented, to debate Michael Schumacher's...
how they were invented.
Exactly.
Not why, how.
7 appeal and 8 appeal don't quite have the same ring, but we'll see what happens when he gets there, and he will get there, there's no question. But I mean, some people are saying, let's enjoy 6, let's look forward to 7 because that's the big one. But for me, it's not the big one because that's just the one that he equals. If he can get to 7, I'll get excited about 8, you know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, sorry, I was looking away from you, and I should have known that you're slowing the talking down. No, I was in my head trying to come up with like what are the ones that we're going to say. It won't be 7 and 8 appeal, but it'll be lucky number 7,
8, one fat lady,
and then Lewis Hamilton is one fat lady.
So good. I will pay Crofty $1 million if he says that.
Hashtag ask Crofty if he'll say
ask
one
Crofty
fat
to say
lady.
That. Yeah. Well, Zach, should we move on to the race? I think the thing is, when someone wins the championship, we usually just, get it out of the way. Let's talk about it. But we can talk about the race if you want.
Yeah.
That race would be, oh say, can you see by the dawn's early light? It's the Circuit of the Americas. I don't know what you're thinking. Doesn't that mean both North and South America? So sorry, Canada. Sorry, Mexico and Brazil. Apparently you don't exist. This is the track for the Americas. And of all the tracks that are 5.513 kilometers long, COTA has to be among my top 3. And what's not to love? You can see almost all of the track's 16 turns from the attractive and not at all dangerous viewing platform. Wait, did you say it was dangerous? No, you must be hearing things. Well, I'm pretty sure you said it was dangerous. Why would you say that unless you were thinking it? I think I'll just stay here on the ground. Look, never mind what I said. Hey, how about some jalapeno poppers? My treat. That's nice. COTA is just one of a few F1 tracks that run counterclockwise. The rest run clock counterwise, where the drivers get bonus points for counting all the clocks as they complete the lap. Look, it's time to Yankee your doodle and grab your skates in the United States, baby.
They're better in person. It turns out that they're much better live. That was breathtaking. I feel like you put in extra effort because you knew I was going to be here.
I wrote this in 1 minute. I think I was hungry and wanted jalapeno poppers. But Zach, let's get into the race recap.
Play the theme.
Let us race a bit. I gave him space.
Zach, my balls, mate.
Let's hurry up and get out of here. We got a race to do.
Whoa, what a theme. Gets better every time I hear it in person, which I definitely just did. Zach, we also, this is going to be interesting, a 30-second recap.
Yeah, bang.
Which, without listening to our things, I'm going to put on a little timer on my phone.
New phone timer. Who dis?
Hey, look at this. Yeah, for those playing at home, we don't have, we're not listening to our sounds, so I don't know what 30 seconds is. I didn't think that would be a problem until, of course, when does 30 seconds end? I don't know.
Do you want me to hold up my phone and you can see the countdown?
I've already got the...
I can hold your phone.
Okay. That sounds good. Just remember to hit stop when it finishes because it's going to make a noise. And actually, you can hit start for me.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Let's recap the United States Grand Prix in 30 seconds. I'll recap it the way my dad did when he spoiled it for me. Actually, luckily, I knew the result. But I was watching it on delay, sitting on the couch watching it. And my dad was like, what are you watching on your phone, Rod? I'm like, I'm watching the F1, Dad. He's like,
20 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that one. Bottas won. Hamilton wins the championship and Ricciardo comes 6th. I was like, thanks, Dad. I'm on lap 12. Good thing I knew the results. But yeah, I think it was between Ricciardo and Lando for the best of the rest. I think there was an incident with Kvyat and Perez at the end.
5,
Yet again, a repeat
4,
of Mexico. But
3,
it's
2,
the 6 appeal of Lewis
1.
Hamilton that matters.
Nailed it.
Not too bad.
I would say that was... I'm going to hand your phone back to you.
Thank you.
Holding greatness there. And the fresh new phone, Rodney's phone.
Do not drop it.
I should have dropped it like as at the end of the time.
As a joke,
like at the end. Oh.
Well, yeah, anyway, focus. What's happening with the race? What happened in the race? The Bottas won. That was good.
I think it was another one of those classic things where Lewis Hamilton was like, hey man, thanks for putting on this strategy that's going to keep me involved and give me track position and win me a championship, but I don't think I'll be able to drive this car. I think it's going to be broken. And they did the thing that we all wanted to see as fans, which is Bottas took the two-stop strategy and would have to overtake Lewis Hamilton on dying tyres, who was on the one-stop strategy for the win. And I think it really showed us again and again and again how hard it is for someone to come up, even though they're seemingly about 20 seconds a lap faster, and actually overtake him. When he finally got the move done, it was on the DRS straight, and the move was done halfway down the straight. Finally got up close enough, just whipped in, and I don't think Lewis was going to do anything under braking to make it more uncomfortable for Bottas.
Well, there was one point where, because of the strategy, they were trying to pit Lewis out of the way of Bottas, and then they called him in, and they came out with the tyres, and then Hamilton was like, nah, I think I'll do another lap. I can see Bottas in my mirrors, and I might just stay out. And he didn't do anything at all to disrupt him. Bottas just got straight past him, so then he pitted the next lap, and it was like, well, wait a second, what's going on here? That was a bit weird. But then there was the other time when Bottas was trying to overtake, and he tried to go around the outside, and Lewis just sort of closed the door. And at first I was like, look at this guy, Lewis, closing the door like he always does, like he always complains about other drivers doing. And then watching the replay, I was like, Bottas wasn't even halfway along, so he had no right to any space. But,
no.
Yeah, it was just, I guess it just showed that even on the cusp of winning 6, I don't know if you've heard, but he has 6 PL. On the cusp of winning 6, he's still looking to fight and give himself every percentage chance of winning a race, even if it's basically... It's academic.
Yeah, it's moot. He wants those wins. And that's what, you can think what you think about Lewis Hamilton, but that's a Formula One racer to me, is that he's desperate to win in all circumstances. That's why he gets on the radio and goes, how can we make this win work? And that's why I said it on last week's show that we hear them as one-sided conversations with Roscoe, whatever his name is.
He was back, yes.
How you're wrong, this strategy is wrong. But that's the conversation. That's the balance of how that team works, is that he challenges them when he thinks it's not right, and he gives them as much feedback as they need, and they tell him, look, the computer says no, do the thing. And he goes and does the thing whilst complaining.
Yeah, true.
And that's, a testament to him. It's a thing that works. The only change that we might see is, will that change next year with with more development happening, and then there's not necessarily room in the notes here to talk about it, but all the 2021 regulatory and this is what the cars will look like, and this is the description of the parts and everything. That will all change in 2021, so I wonder how that will affect the Mercedes. Did you see much of the 2021 stuff?
I saw the announcements. Some of it had already been rumoured. Now I guess it's obviously just more confirmed. They're going to make racing incredible, and the cars are going to have bigger rear wings, different rim wheels. Obviously, we knew about that one. But the idea is that the cars will be able to follow each other better and should lead to more overtaking. Getting the balance right there is going to be interesting, and I think the cars are going to be able to follow closer, which in this sort of era at the moment of managing front brake temperatures, it's going to be interesting to see whether that gets worse or is alleviated. Yeah. But they're apparently going to throw more turbulent air up. Throw it up. Just get it and throw it up.
Oh, get it up in the air.
I'm sure you can imagine Ross Brawn just throwing his hands up, just get the hot air and just put it
graduating air. Just throw it up.
Don't throw it back in my face. Throw it up.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem they're trying to solve. And then, they're still trying to get weird qualifying laws up to... Let's just fuck with qualifying. It's like, guys, just leave it. It's fine.
Just don't play with as many things at once. Just change a few things. Like you changing all the car regulations is one move. Then you're going to have a whole period of this formula to go and change other things. So just leave that for a bit.
I'll tell you, someone who's looking at their car for next year is Ferrari. Apparently made some setup changes for this week, and boy, oh boy, did those setup changes not work in the slightest. One of the setup changes they made was, let's just halfway saw through this suspension for Sebastian Vettel, and just let's hope that when he hits a big bump, it doesn't break. Oops, it did. So they went up fast, number one. I mean, they were okay in qualifying. They were there or thereabouts because it was so close, and which meant that the field was pretty spread. But Lewis Hamilton got a great start and was right up into the top 3 straight away, while the Ferraris struggled.
Languished.
And then, talk about languishing. Poor old Sebastian Vettel, basically, I feel like he was like riding a bucking bronco US style to get that thing back to the pits, and then had to retire. Well, he couldn't even make it back.
Yeah, I mean, why I'm amazed when people try and drive a car that has broken suspension back to the pits. Like, they don't have suspension to put on that car.
There's no car anymore.
They don't lift the top off and swap the bottom out and put the put the covering back on. Like, he's sitting in there like just swap the base out. No, and I also love when people know that they've done something wrong and then they get on the radio. It's like, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the suspension's broken. I couldn't know what it would be. It's like, you run over the bumpy things and you had a little bit of a crash earlier. Like, it's broken.
Science.
That was, we were slamming the David Croft 6 appeal earlier, but Martin Brundle being like, he was just doing the illegal thing that everybody's doing this weekend, which is driving out of the track limits and for an advantage that because everyone does it, it's fine.
Everyone does it.
But it turns out those little bumpy things, maybe they should make them super bumpy next year so that even people without earlier crashes will just break their suspension.
Maybe there's a way that they can make it so that if you start to go off, you have to go off. And then if you go off, you'll be fine. But if you go off and then try and re-straighten, as in you're trying to take more advantage of carrying more speed into the corner but get it wrong, if you go straight, then your car just breaks or you get I don't know.
Put a spike strip down.
Flips or something.
it gets thrown up in the air. Like the air in 2021, you'll just be thrown in the air.
We haven't spoken like that for a while. Something about being face to face means all of a sudden we're talking about jumps and flipping cars.
Like in Sonic, you do the bounce pads. They just go boing. Yeah, something like that. I think that will work really nicely. Oh, so yeah, I mean, and Charles Leclerc finished 58 seconds down or something like that off the leaders. Like, just was seemingly a lap. 1 or 1.5 seconds a lap slower.
Did he pit towards the end for fresh tyres to claim the fastest lap? Right, okay. Because, I was watching the race at 2x speed at that time.
So Ferrari even looked quicker than that.
That's so quick. Actually, I'll tell you what, if you want a fun time and you just when you get to that 30-lap stage and you're like, this is just so boring, just flick it into 2x. It's worth it. Because the cars just look so much faster. And when you know what's coming, it's more satisfying.
Also, replays of the race and the highlights are in 4K, 120 frames per second.
Hello.
Super nice. That's why when you watch the highlights on the Formula One website, you're like, wow, F1 looks amazing.
Yeah.
Look at this frames per second, but that's because you're watching.
Streaming on my rubbish internet makes it look so bad. We can talk about Ricciardo or Norris because I think they drove both. They drove both. No,
they both drove each other's cars.
Yes. They were counting clocks as well. They were driving clock count-wise. And they, speaking of sixth appeal, Daniel Ricciardo was best of the rest. And Norris drove also quite well, even though Ricciardo really just climbed over the top of a couple of cars to go from 9th to 6th. And then Norris only went from, I think, 8th to 7th. Still, I think they both drove very good races. Hard to pick between them for a really good performance because I feel like, thinking back on the highlights of the race, I can remember Norris overtaking people and Daniel just not so much. So he obviously made places, but I wonder whether Norris drove a better race, even though Ricciardo qualified behind him and finished ahead of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was up to Ricciardo to kind of hold Norris off towards the end of the race, and he did. And they seemed like best buds off the track, and it seems like there's that kind of emerging group of the fun guys of Formula One. And both McLaren drivers are in that group, which is nice. So another good race from Daniel Ricciardo. No lamenting Instagram posts this weekend or this week of we'll get him next time or a weekend to forget. He's had a couple of weeks in a row now where he's had pretty solid performances. Renault will be feeling much better because it's been in front of them this whole season that McLaren's been Formula 1.5 champions essentially. And they're running Renault engines and then have had the goal to be like, you know what, we're not going to run them in the future. We're going to run Mercedes engines because our car's pretty great. It's just your engine that's the problem. Oof. So, and it's not even that much of a problem. So I think Daniel Ricciardo's just happy to have some reliability go his way, have a little bit of luck go his way, and to be able to maybe finally put an impression on this season, which we were all kind of hoping would be a real upswing in his career, but has just been a bit of a blip.
So when you put it like that, neither of them sound particularly good. But yeah, I just felt that they did an okay race, and it's just notable that they're the guys that are right up there consistently at the front, especially the McLaren guys, right up there at the front of the Formula B or Formula 2 or whatever, 1.5, whatever you want to call it. They're always the ones. Disappointing for Haas at their home race, with K-Mag spinning out and DNFing and Grosjean finishing last of the cars that had both working suspensions. It's not what you want when it's your home race.
Last of the working cars. They've come a long way, Haas, haven't they? Just faded into almost nothing, it feels like. It's almost like it's like Drive to Survive is their only saving grace. And even then, there's just still quiet on the Haas front right now.
But Renault too.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. I wonder, because it is always disappointing at your home race. Who does well at their home race? It feels like no team does well at their home race.
Mercedes usually do okay.
Yeah, they're always
that's
so,
about it. But that's
so
because
good.
they're winning every race.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it is just disappointing for Haas because they're a hardworking team. It just doesn't seem like they have any of the answers. The development just tends to drop off.
But that's why I think they need to shake things up. And it's so disappointing that they kept Grosjean because it's like you're only going to do just as well as you've already been doing.
Yeah.
There's no chance that you're going to get better. He's not going to be twice as good a driver overnight magically. It's just not going to work.
No, and he's obviously not giving the kind of feedback that is changing the team either. No. He's not changing the team dynamic. The 1%ers that matter a lot in Formula One, these are the things that change teams. It's why Alfa Romeo have someone like Kimi Räikkönen, because he does provide something else. They could have gone and got a young driver. They could have put, maybe not Esteban Ocon, but someone else in that car. They could have kept Marcus Ericsson, really.
Yeah.
But they were like, you know what, get Kimi. I know that was part of getting Leclerc to Ferrari and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't have to have Kimi in all circumstances being equal, but they did because he gives them something else. And I just don't think, I'm with you, Romain Grosjean, just keeping him in that team, just doesn't really do anything for them.
They're already getting the most out of him. He's already getting what he can out of the car. They're not going to be able to unlock any extra amazing performance given his feedback, in my opinion. He's never been renowned as like the guy that can like really develop a car, So I don't understand it. Makes no sense. And yeah, another disappointing race at home for the Haas boys. The other thing that happened at the end of the race was a last lap incident between Kvyat and Perez. Another penalty for Kvyat. Another angry Mexican driving his F1 car. Another penalty dropping Kvyat out of the points. Almost a mirror finish of Mexico.
I just don't know what they're competing for as part.
Yeah, what are they fighting for?
No, there is, and Daniil Kvyat's done he's done so much this year to bring us all back in. Like we were like, here he goes.
Me especially.
Round 2.
It seems.
Yeah, like round 3 it feels like for Daniil Kvyat, but he was out of the sport, he's back in it, and we were like, yes, he went to Ferrari as a reserve driver. He's a more experienced man. He knows this is his last go around. There could be a Red Bull seat up for grabs at some point if Max Verstappen ever leaves Red Bull, or like there was earlier, and it spoke volumes that Red Bull were like, no, Daniil Kvyat will probably never be a Red Bull driver again. We're going to put Alexander Albon in that seat. So I just don't understand. But maybe he's just maybe he's like, well, I've done all that good work now. Maybe I can just muck about a little bit.
Yeah,
and go for it.
Talking about Alexander Albon, yeah, driver of the day performance in my opinion. He was running last at one point, back up into P5, pretty damn good.
Yeah,
definitely rewarding Red Bull for their choice, and I'm not surprised at all that they're probably looking at keeping Verstappen and Albon right where they are, and this is what makes Kvyat like torpedo crashing into people on the last lap. Just makes no sense because there's no chance he's going to get up there, especially if he does that.
And it's exactly the kind of performance that Pierre Gasly wasn't giving.
Yeah,
it's exactly the kind of thing where it would seem not like a questionable decision, but it was like Albon might only get like 2 or 3 races in that Red Bull and they might swap them back. But he's just been like, I'm going to keep my head down, stay really quiet, and just finish 5th as often as I can.
Yeah, well, he's got more points now than Perez, Pierre for the year. So yeah, definitely more than repaid the favour back to Red Bull for their promotion. Well, I feel like that's about all it got from the race. We move on. We've got plenty to get through, boy. Yeah. Okay, let's get into fantasy focus for the USA Grand Prix. I've pulled up our Super License League here.
I haven't looked.
I didn't want to. I forgot to put in my picks, my bonus productions, because I was busy this weekend. And I went down one place. I am a guess for the race, I was 56th. For the league, I'm 40. No, for the race, I'm 58th. For the league, I'm 46th, and I went down one spot. So I'm looking at the race results. Still haven't seen your name, Zach. Let me find where you are. I'll flip through the old tabs here. I've got it up. Don't you even worry, my friend. Zachary Priest, Zero Engineering Racing League, 45 down 2 spots, and this race 68, so below myself.
I don't think I'm going to win the league this year.
It's coming to that realization.
It's going to be a Herculean effort on my part. Is there maybe I can put some of my own money into my team, and they'll let me have Lewis Hamilton, Bottas, and who would I take?
Maybe
Sebastian Vettel.
You might have more luck if you learn computer hacking and actually just hack the system Ferris Bueller style and
Yes.
Let's get yourself right up there, my friend.
Who are the top performers?
Top performers this week for the USA Grand Prix, Scuderia Benetti by Over and Out, Tangelo Racing and Baggins is the better dog, returning to the top 3 for overall performance. I'll put up the league results, pretty much similar reading. Hawkmoon Racing, Scuderia Benetti, and Lincoln the Naughty Dog. The top 3 for the league, and I'd say Hawkmoon Racing probably pulling out a little bit of a gap, and the gap between second and third now about 90 points. No, 110 points. So, yeah, these gaps are opening up, and I'll tell you who's in fourth is Pacific by Charlie O'Donnell, who is an outsider chance to sneak into the top 3 before the end of the year. Good luck, everybody, with your picks for Fantasy Focus. And, thanks everyone who's been playing. Don't give up. It's time that the thing is, it's just a nice little time waster to just pick some bonus things. Where's Roman Grosjean going to finish? What, is Vettel's car going to make it to the end? Which car will be upside down and on fire by the end of the race? All of these great
How
things.
many wheel guns won't work on the first go? All of these kinds of questions.
Exactly. Time to get into not a new segment.
Yeah, the newest segment.
Returning favourite for F1. No, we can't do F1 all the time.
I could do it live.
Do it.
F1 dreams.
A dream come true. Sergio Perez. His McLaren dream did not come true, I'm afraid. F1 dreams. So I said a while ago I had a couple, or what I've actually got is one. It's kind of 2 vignettes, and then we've got some listener ones. So maybe I'll crack off with mine. Slim Sip is not kicking in. Kick off with mine. They're very short, and then we'll get into some listener ones.
Yeah.
First of all, it's notable that I have an F1 dream. I don't usually have very many. You seem to have one every other day. It's weird, but
you don't get a lot of sleep these days with a child.
Well, that's kind of true. That is pretty true. I must have been really feverish this day. But anyway, here's the first setting. They're kind of like little settings. So the first setting is an F1 press conference. You can imagine the constructors, the team principals all lined up getting asked questions, and tensions between Gene Haas and Will Buxton boil over during the press conference. Old mate Bill Buxton. Will asks a question and Gene gives a dismissive answer, and then Will asks again, really trying to skewer him, and Gene says, Will, I just don't like your whole thing. And the whole room gasps. And that's the end. That's all I remember of that bit, which I just thought that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Second bit, this is a nice feel-good one. During Ted Kravitz's direct piece to camera after the race, a kid in the stands is commentating an imaginary race that he is imagining, and the atmosphere mics on the side of the track are picking it up, and they are broadcasting them out. So Ted Kravitz is just like, everyone just be quiet for a minute, just listen to this. And this little kid is commentating a fake race that he's imagining trackside. I just thought that was a really nice thing. I don't know how we could get that into actual races, but that was my dream. That's what happened in my dream.
Well, it's something that fan commentary or podcast commentary, there is a podcast I listen to about football that they are starting to do that now.
What's this called?
So the podcast is called Arsenal Vision, and they are doing for their Patreon supporters. They're working with a company who's beta testing this technology, which is it syncs up live, so they can Skype call live commentary together.
Sure, okay.
And then there'll be and if you're watching the match on your TV, you can tune in online and listen to live commentary from them instead of the commentary on the thing, which I think is a really cool idea. Not saying that would be something that we can do, but hopefully that kind of technology is developing so that it makes it easier for us as fans to choose the commentary we would listen to.
I mean, Google Hangouts exists.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Exactly. I think it's just kind of, especially easier for Formula One because it's not so much like second to second commentary that is super important, but on other sports where like football and the likes where you're calling out player names, essentially.
Yes. I call players' names all the time. not none that I can repeat here.
Rod, do you want me to read the first listener submitted dream number 1?
I do. Hit me with it, Daddy-O.
Okay. The first F1 dream. People send them in first person, so this is all how it goes.
This is from Christy.
Pretend I am Christy. I am Christy now. The first F1 dream I ever had. The first time I read that, actually, this is Zach, by the way. I thought that was the first dream I ever had. And I was like, lucky you. First dream you ever had, and it's F1 themed. The first F1 dream I ever had happened the night after Monza 2019. My doorbell rang, and Dream Me got up to answer it. Surprise! It was Charles Leclerc, my favourite driver, brackets. He had him a box of very American donuts and very American drip coffee in his hands. I hope he had that coffee in like a mug or something. He was just holding it like, here you go. Ready? He asks. Hell yes. We then spent hours watching Twin Peaks together. We were like 2 best friends and absolutely obsessed. I reckon Charles Leclerc, just outside of the dream again, has never heard of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, probably not.
Back to the dream. We discussed all the conspiracy theories, shocking twists, weird dream sequences, irony, and ate the entire box of donuts. Our conversation was a dream blur of emotions rather than actual words. So I can't tell you what Charles thinks about the Black Lodge, or, spoiler alert, if he was frustrated as I am by the length of Dougie in Season 3. I also don't know how it ended. But I like to think it was with neither of us gaining weight from any of the dozen donuts.
That's the best thing about dream donuts. No calories.
No calories on the dream donuts. I'm on the dream diet, actually.
Dream diet? Yeah.
I eat between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m. every day.
So are you saying you sleep eat or dream eat?
I'm dream eating.
Right. Excellent. I'm on that diet, but only in my dreams. And then daytime hours doesn't apply.
It cancels out. Whatever you eat in your dreams cancels out in real life. You have to eat the exact same food, though. Because sometimes Charles Leclerc donuts and hand-drip coffee is not going to... It's hard to find.
It's Nightmare on Elm Street rules. If you wake up while eating a lobster, the lobster appears in real life. You keep eating. But it's also got Freddy's claws and it just pinches you on the nose.
Ignorance is bliss.
Another dream from Christy. Thank you so much for sending these dreams through, Christy. I'll read the next one. I apologize in advance. Zach's beautiful reading voice is now going to be replaced by my horrible reading voice. Although I'm reading more books to my daughter, so I'm getting better. Here we go. There I am, driving a black 1967 Chevy Impala down a dark road in the middle of nowhere. I'm in my own episode of Supernatural, which I was watching right before the past weekend's Mexico Grand Prix. Riding shotgun, with a shotgun, is Charles. In the back seat is Romain Grosjean, whittling a small wooden figure of Jane Fonda circa 1970. I don't even know what that means. That's her writing that. That's not me. I know what that means. Barbarella Psychedella. That's me singing. Anyway, back to the dream. I told you I'd be bad at this. We're going to kill some ghosts together because we're a team of hunters. That's why you need the shotguns. Duh.
Of course. Bang, bang.
What I didn't understand is this. I have 2 professional drivers with me, so why am I, someone who works in web and mobile app development, behind the wheel? Good question. It came to me hours later when telling this dream to a friend at work. I am the only one of us who hasn't wrecked a car. You nailed it. This definitely made sense when you think of Grosjean confined to the back seat, angrily shaping a piece of wood. It kind of does. What was Charles doing with the shotgun, calmly cleaning it with eerie, sociopathic precision? He then asked me in a Midwest American accent, when are we picking up Annie? Annie is my dachshund in real life. Dream Me understands why he wants to pick up Annie. Annie the dachshund has a pair of high heels I wore in my wedding. And Charles knows I need these high heels to be successful at hunting the monsters of the week. Annie the dachshund is in Los Angeles, though, because the movers who moved all of my personal goods to Munich left my shoes, purses, husband's clothes, and a box of kitchen items in Los Angeles. That part really did happen. Then I woke up. Then she says, what still haunts me is the slow-motion dream scene of turning my head and seeing Charles Leclerc meticulously cleaning a pump-action shotgun with a dirty white rag, cold eyes staring out into the black road before us, while behind me I hear Grosjean's pocket knife chucking away at his little Jane Fonda doll. This is like a Tarantino movie, I have to say, including the Jane Fonda reference.
I think Christy Payne's such a strong, beautiful... Like, we've had a lot of good F1 dreams, but that was a ride. And I feel like I felt that dream in my bones. So thank you so much for sending those 2 in. Yeah, it is a trailer.
I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get in touch with Romain Grosjean because I'm sure he's got nothing better to do than produce a film.
There is one left from Zandy. Do you want to jump onto that one?
Yeah, here we go. Zandy's dream. Not an F1 dream, but I was unconscious. So, look, we're going to include it. I had an operation recently. All good, so that's good to hear, Zandy. And as I came out of the anaesthetic, the anaesthetists nailed it. Assistant told me that while I was under, I'd been explaining to the surgery team how F1 works and how Lewis Hamilton was going to be the world champion again, eh? Firstly, I thought I had a healthy interest in sport, but maybe I need to scale it back just a tad. Don't worry, you're talking to 2 guys who at any moment will talk to people about F1. And secondly, how horrifying that you talk under anaesthetic. Imagine the sketchy things you could say. Like, F1 seems quite an innocent topic, really. She wishes us all to enjoy the rest of the season. Look, you are right. Having been under anaesthetic multiple times, general anaesthetic, I am totally spooked by the things I might have been saying, especially when I was getting a tooth removed. So maybe I was talking... Can you imagine? Yeah, Zach.
I remember the last time I was put under anaesthetic, it was like a gas, and they were like... Usually they do the old count back from 10, but they... were trying to ask me about my interests, and my interests are so niche and weird that it was hard to describe them, so I had to think extra hard, and they were like, what kind of things do you like? And I was like, oh, I don't know, movies. And they were like, oh yeah, what kind of movies? And I know that when someone asks that, they're like, oh yeah, I like movies too. I like Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I'm like, no. I like art house movies. I was like, how do I say this? I was like, I know. I'll say I like documentaries. So I'm going under anesthetic. I'm like, I like documentaries. And they're like, really? What kind of documentaries? I'm like, oh, fucking hell.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah. You haven't heard of it? Just let me out. Just do your job. Your job is to just make me unconscious. So yeah, fun times. Thank you everyone for sending in your dreams. I'm glad that I could contribute and that they weren't some crazy anxiety-filled thing as usual. We'll try and do F1 Dreams again next year. I don't know that we'll have enough by the end of this season because we're rapidly running out of races. But we'll try F1 Dreams again next year whenever there's a big collective amount come through.
Just when you have them, write them down. You all have dream diaries next to your bed. Everyone should. It's called an iPhone or a regular phone. It doesn't have to be an iPhone. Could be any smartphone. Yeah. And just write them in. And you're not meant to look at the blue light in the night. So if you have a notepad, that's better. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares? You're an F1 watcher. You're waking up at 4 a.m. to watch the Brazil Grand Prix anyway. So write down your dreams and email them to us. We'll take it in any format.
Do that. Or hit record and send us voice message.
Yes.
Either one. We'll accept either. Zach, shall we move on to the super quiz?
Yeah.
We will accept a couple of questions. Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round one?
Can you repeat the question?
Super quiz. Said it too quick, and it almost sounds like you wouldn't know what I'm saying. But of course, I'm saying super quiz.
Yes.
And given that we've now played the theme, Zach, would you like to crack into said quiz?
Yeah, it's the Hintstagram bios quiz.
Ah, yes.
So I went through some Formula One drivers' bios because this is a little bit of a throwback to back when I used to do the Twitter profile pick quiz and Twitter pick profile quiz, and I would describe the Twitter profile pick and you would try to guess the F1 personality.
Poorly.
This time, I'm going to... Basically, I'm just lifting their Instagram bios, and you're going to guess who the driver is. Plus, I've got some more complex questions later on.
I'm going to get all of these.
Now, it was slim pickings because almost every single driver just has Formula One driver for Team X. And you're like, come on. So, I'm going to start you with an easy one in Formula One Super License Quiz tradition. This is the Hintstagram bios quiz. It's hint because that's what you get people doing a quiz. Here we go. The first one is, it is a plant-based little emoji, and then the words based diet, love animals, constantly searching for my purpose, for adventure, open-mindedness and positivity, praying hands, spread love, capitalized, and God above all, hallelujah hands. Who is this?
Well, I tell you what, that Instagram description has sex appeal written all over it. LH, Team LH, Lewis Hamilton.
It is Lewis Hamilton. Good on him. It's the longest one out of all the Instagram bios that I looked at.
You can't say he didn't think about it.
And at least he used the emojis. So congratulations, that's 1 from 1. You're at 100%.
Nice.
Well, let's move on to the second question. Oh, sorry, by the way, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions today. I've gone 1 to 2 more. Should have done that at the start. Here is question number 2. Simple. World biggest milk consumer ... and glass of white liquid emoji, which I'm guessing is milk.
Huh.
It's interesting because there's a typo in it.
What's the typo?
Well, it should be world's biggest milk consumer. He says world biggest milk consumer. World biggest milk consumer.
I guess there's always a loophole in case someone who is a incredibly high consumer of milk comes along and says, hey, wait a second. that Instagram description is invalid.
This feels like a bit of fun. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to go Mr. Lando Norris.
It is Mr. Lando Norris. How did you guess that?
Mr. Fun.
He is Mr. Fun. Hashtag Formula Dank.
I think there's a joke about him being super young and drinking milk. I think that's where that comes from. Might be wrong.
You need the strong bones
yeah.
Well, you need it.
He needs it to hold that big head because he's like, he's like a young... You know, so young people, their heads are so big. It's incredible. Yeah, the muscles in their neck to hold up his head.
That's true. That's the only reason he does the
neck
exercises.
Not like me, little pinhead.
Yeah, tiny head. That's if you don't know that, if you've got images of what Rod and I look like in your head, Rod's got a tiny pinhead.
Yeah.
And mine is like a helium balloon. Question number 3. This is not as straightforward. It's a more complicated question, but 2 drivers have never give up written in their bio. They are Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas. However, one of these drivers, out of those 2, Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas, has it as part of the hashtag never give up on the dream racing car fart emoji.
That is a great one.
Kevin Magnussen or Valtteri Bottas, race winner.
I really feel that Bottas is the dream guy. He talks about dreaming, and one day he'll send in a dream to our segment, F1 Dream. Famous F1 Dream segment. I'm going to go Bottas.
Kevin Magnussen.
I'm going to suck my teeth because you're wrong.
No, he would never be. His is just literally never space give space up.
Oh, well, he's very
because
efficient.
he's done his dream. He's Formula One racer, winner, Mercedes driver, hasn't been dumped. Number 2 driver is all he
hasn't
ever
been
dreamed
dumped.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Kevin Magnussen has never give up on the dream, which means that he still has a dream that he's trying to complete, which I don't know what that could possibly be.
He's already the most successful Danish F1 driver ever.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Exactly. Let's move on to number 4. This is a really easy one. I'm going to give you... This is the line from the bio. Keep pushing the limits. #unleash the lion. Is this Max Verstappen or Sergio Perez?
Oh,
#unleash the lion, Rod.
I was hoping it would be someone British, but then I realised, like, other than we've already had the British drivers out, they've already come out. It's like when Tesla and you're hoping for a number, and you're like, that number's already come out, damn it. Unleash the lion.
Right? I had no
Max
idea this was a
Verstappen
thing.
Or
Sergio Perez.
Sergio Perez. I think it's Max Verstappen. I think he has a lion on his helmet, so I'm going to go Max Verstappen.
It's Max Verstappen.
Nailed it!
Who knew that Max Verstappen was a guy who had a catchphrase?
A personality. Other than I'm going to smash you in the nose. Yeah, no, man, this is just a recent one that I saw something about his helmet with a lion on it. It's like one of those sort of, it's like minimal lions, and lions, but it's little minimal lines that looks like a minimal lion. It's minimal lines for maximum lion.
Lion. Yeah.
Got there.
Mean, you ain't lying.
Ooh.
Let's move on. Out of all the drivers, who is the sport, food, or self-proclaimed sport, food, wine lover? Now,
you're not going to give me options, or do I throw it over?
No, because you should know this one. But it's an ambiguous statement, because are they a lover of sport, lover of food, lover of wine? Or are they sport, food, wine lover? Are they just 2 statements of things?
Pray love. I didn't see that movie. That's no help.
Julio Roberts.
Is it Mr. Roman Grosjean?
Bang.
I share initials and a birthday with that guy, and I also love food. There you go.
He didn't put cycling as a thing. Actually, the first half of his... I didn't include the first part, which is like father of 3, lover of his wife's
because that would have given it away.
I would have given it because his wife has his surname. And not that you have to do that. Just saying that specifically his wife has his surname.
Getting heavy on the Super License pod today.
Question number 6. Which driver has their own West Coast Choppers line of merch, which is currently linked to in their Instagram bio? You know what West Coast Choppers are?
I imagine it's an American motorcycle.
Yes,
type
famous
thing.
for like being like real like road hogs, kind of like my arms are in the air to hold the handlebars, the wheels are massive, and it goes. Who has their own line and is linking to it in their Instagram bio?
As weird as it would be for this unit to be linked to that, I think it's Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo?
No, it's the oldest man on the grid.
Give me Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo again. No, Daniel Ricciardo. This is actually where it's funny you mentioned Daniel Ricciardo, because that is where this idea for this quiz started, because he's been shilling for like the sock company that he's friends with and for beer companies.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So I was going to go through and find all of the brands that people are shilling for, but turns out most of them aren't, because they're getting paid a buttload of money to be Formula One drivers. So they do it on their stories maybe. But no, Kimi Räikkönen has his own line with West Coast Shoppers. How did that even happen? I don't know. But there we go. Kimi Räikkönen. Rod, the last question of the Hintstagram bios quiz. Which driver, who by all accounts, from what I saw, has the lowest amount of followers on his Instagram, 300,000, links to their fan club Instagram account, which has 5,000 followers?
The only thing worse would be, if it, if it turned out that they ran their own fan club. Okay. So, I mean, there are some drivers that don't have Instagram, so that rules out at least 1 or 2. We've had a whole bunch come out. So, someone who's not popular, but has a fan club. I'll tell you, honestly, every driver has a fan club. Even the F2 drivers have fan clubs, so there's not much of a clue there. We're just going to go with low numbers, and I'm going to go high percentage with Antonio Giovinazzi.
Bang, bang, bang. It's Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah, no teeth sucking here. I got it right.
No, and like he came up because just recently, all the drivers have been getting love, seemingly, except Antonio Giovinazzi, and it's come up on
He's
the
just been
socials.
re-signed for 2020.
Exactly. And he's been plugging away. It's hard in that Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. But no seat for Hulk. Sorry, Hulk. Hope Hulk understand. Hope Hulk overstand.
He's welcome on this show. Maybe him and Jolyon Palmer could have their own podcast.
The hair off.
The world's most boring podcast.
Palmer's all right. He's been getting better, I got to say.
What do we call him? The F1 commentator who had a Formula 1 career?
He's pretty good. For a commentator, he's a pretty good driver. Still true today, after all these months. Anyway.
So I think the only one you
quiz.
got wrong was you got 2 wrong. So 5 out of 7. And there were some real rogue ones you got right. Lando Norris, Antonio Giovinazzi. You got those.
I'll take it. I'll tell you, I mean, it's like,
Smashed it.
if you were a US Formula 1 fan and you hear Mr. Milk Boy, I drink all the milk, whatever it was, something like that.
Yeah, that's me.
You would
World's
think, yeah,
biggest milk.
some US guy, like some Indianapolis winner who is now driving in Formula 1, but no. So you just gotta keep your eye on the prize and just know your F1 facts. And just stay confident. That's Rod's tip for the week.
Yeah. Is that your thought for the week?
No,
Reflection?
we should get into final thoughts. Final thoughts. Time to do the last thinking we'll do all week. So you can make it a good one. Make it count. Zach, what did you think about this week?
Well, we kind of talked a little bit about it with the Formula 1 2021 regulation changes. And this got passed around a little bit. That Renault did a really nice poster of these are the things you need to know. Because F1 did a bad job of it, they were more hyping it, and Renault was like, okay, this is what it means though. And I had kind of learnt it was nice to learn the terms for there's 3 classes of parts. There are the ones that everybody has the same one. There are the ones where there are multiple vendors, and then there are the ones where you can kind of make yourself do whatever you want.
So do you know those words now? You're gonna
don't know those words.
Is one of them homologated though?
Yes, I think one of them is homologated.
That'll be the ones that everybody has to have the same.
Yeah, one's pasteurized, so that's the one that has been heated up to 100 degrees. You have to have
kill the bacteria.
Yeah, have those ones, and then it's custom chopper is the third one.
That's what goes choppers.
Yeah, but no, the whole point was that this is exactly why I think F1 does. They're so far within themselves that they don't always think about one thing to put the information out into the world, but the next thing is to what does it mean though for people?
Yeah,
how can you turn this into something consumable? And as someone who, both of us ostensibly work in careers where we try to flare things up for markets and help them understand and change minds and work in messaging, I suppose, and doing a podcast, stuff like that really sticks out to me, and it really annoys me when F1 seems to kind of shoot itself in the foot, where they brought out all of this media about the F1 regulation changes, but they're still also a year and a half away, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that they need to tell the teams and the drivers and all the rest of it. There's a lot of work that has to be done, and I guess if they're going to tell them, they may as well tell everybody. The anoraks like us will be interested in that kind of stuff.
I'm going to make changes to my own car.
They'll still be, before the 2021 season, F1 will still produce a little 15-minute animated thing with Daniel Ricciardo. He'll float up into the air and a car will build around him the way they always do, and he'll explain all the rules, and then we'll understand. It'll be good.
Fine, it'll be good. You love it. You can't wait for it. That's my final thought.
So excited.
Do you have something more interesting?
Something more interesting. I mean, very nice to get a little knock on the door and have my old mate Zach in town for a podcast. Nice of you to come halfway around the world just to do this.
I know. My flight's leaving in 2 hours.
Do we need
so
to end
wrap.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, my flight's leaving now. I'm on it. See you later.
I had a bit of
Nice knowing
Wi-Fi
you.
on the Emirates flight.
What?
Yeah. I got 2 hours of Wi-Fi for messaging for free.
Jeez. I'm
Didn't
going to fly to
message you.
Canberra soon. I don't think I even get Wi-Fi on that plane, but
16-minute flight you'll be on.
yeah. Well, it's good. It's 16 minutes, taxi and landing, and then another 5 minutes in the air. It's great. Yeah, Wi-Fi on planes. Anyway, this isn't the stand-up set. This is Rod's final thought. No, look, I guess we're just sparing a thought now for everyone in Australia on the East Coast who has to get up at shitty o'clock to watch races that, unfortunately, now that the championship's all wrapped up, don't kind of mean anything. So sorry, guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to be continuing to time shift them and watch them later, and I'll call up my dad and get them spoiled beforehand just to keep that tradition going.
I could spoil them for you if you'd like.
Spoil it now. What's going to happen?
Spoil it now. Valtteri Bottas is going to win both races.
Boom, boom, Bottas!
Yeah, it's the boom, boom Bottas. And you know what? Hamilton's going to be sulky about it. He's going to be a bit shitty about it. He's going to be like, I wanted to win every race for the rest of the year.
Well, he sort of does, but he also doesn't really care that much. I mean, there's been previous years where he's wrapped up the championship, like the year that Rosberg won like the last 4 races or something,
Yeah.
and Hamilton was like, whatever, world champion, suck a dick.
Why don't they stick Ocon in the car for the last 2 races? Lewis Hamilton could come down with a vegan-based sickness.
Maybe they stick a plant in the car and just say, if plants are so good, let's see let's see a ficus win a race. Yeah, come on, if they're so great.
What I would like to see is, for the last race, all drivers change their name to a pun based on a plant.
There you go. That's great marketing.
That's what I'd like to see. It's so funny that there was that massive furor over Lewis Hamilton's Instagram story, and we didn't even comment on it. That's why you listen to us, because that's all nothing. And I'm edited this out because I'm sad I brought it up.
Literally, it is one of those things. And I did think about this week, listening to other shows, F1 shows. They bring up things and then they'd say, this is a big thing, but no one, it's not a thing. It's like, well, why talk about it? And I mean, I know that, that there's anoraks out there that want to know every little detail, but I mean, if it's not a thing, just don't talk about it. That's my approach. That's my tip. That's my second hot tip for the week.
Ooh, that means you won't bring one next race.
Well, I'll see. If you're good, I'll bring one.
Where are we? Felipe Massa territory, right? Brazil. Is that right?
You reckon he'll be there? What will he be wearing? What will his hair be doing?
Will he be a guest of Williams? Would he even want to be?
Of course.
He'll
be in Williams.
Can talk about the good old days.
Yeah. And I mean, will he be wearing a Williams jacket? Or I guess he doesn't have to.
No. He'll be wearing a cap that has a W on it.
Yes, that slick back hairstyle though, and his hair just keeps receding. Like, I don't know, it could just recede all day. It could recede all the way down his back.
Don't worry. Look forward to some Instagram stories of Daniel Ricciardo hanging out with mini Felipe Massa.
There you go.
For some eye bleach for everyone.
I wonder if is it Filipino Massa?
Yeah.
I think his name. I wonder how many followers he's got on the Instagram. Everyone go and follow him right now. There's an extra 5 followers.
He's probably racing around in GP3 or Formula 3 or whatever it's called by now.
Karting for sure.
Yeah.
Carving up.
Rising.
Anyway, that's enough waffle from us. We should wrap up the show, and the next race is in Brazil, so enjoy your life. Until then, get your tips in for fantasy. Don't forget, like I always do. And until then, my name's been Rodney.
My name's been Zach.
I'm going to reach over and hug you in a minute.
This is live.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah! Tony Bear.